In the film, one battle after another, a group of revolutionaries wages war against immigration enforcement on the US-Mexico border. They free detainees. They blow up infrastructure. They rob banks. But the French 75s are not revolutionaries. They're LARPers with guns, and the film knows it. Every frame, every costume choice, every kill confirms that these people have no idea what they're actually fighting for. This video is about what the film is really saying, beneath the gunfights, beneath the car chases, beneath the slogans. Because it's not asking whether revolution is right or wrong. It's asking whether the revolutionaries themselves have evolved enough to deserve one. By the end, you'll see it too. Welcome to the Burning Glass, where we find what's hidden in plain sight. Here's the surface story. The leader of revolutionary group, the French 75, Perfidia, gets captured, betrays everyone, and disappears. Her partner, Pat, escapes with their daughter, raises her in hiding for 16 years, and when the past catches up, that daughter, Willa, must face enemies from all sides. The French 75 fight the state fights the French 75. And there's a third party profiting from both sides, hiding behind warm family house facade while everyone else bleeds. The film's title tells you everything. One battle after another. Not one victory after another. Not progress. Just endless conflict. Waves that rise and fall, accomplishing nothing unless something fundamentally changes. This is what the film actually shows. The difference between performing revolution and embodying change. We'll trace this pattern through Perfidia's self-destruction, Bob's paralysis, and the hidden hands pulling strings behind the scenes. Before arriving at Willa, who might be the first character in this story capable of breaking the cycle. Let's begin where the film begins. The film opens at an immigration detention center. The French 75 execute an operation, and immediately their limitations are visible. Despite all their fervor and swagger, they've only arranged safe passage for half of the detainees. Pat himself doesn't even know what the plan is. They're disorganized, sloppy, playing at rebellion. Pat shoots off fireworks, spectacle, theater. But Perfidia believes she's different. Before humiliating Captain Lockjaw, she takes his military cap, puts it on her own head. This isn't some random act of messing with Lockjaw. This is the film's central symbol of power, and the key to Perfidia's entire arc. Throughout the story, we can see Perfidia's identity expresses itself through headwear. First, the civilian cap. Then comes the military cap, Lockjaw's cap. When she has sex with Lockjaw, she wears his cap and carries his gun. And her name? Perfidia. It literally means betrayal in Spanish and Italian. She doesn't just commit betrayal, she embodies it. She is the armed revolution personified. And the film argues that armed revolution, by its nature, betrays its own ideals. Here's the trap. When you pick up your enemy's weapons, adopt their methods, wear their uniform, you become them. Perfidia believes she's fighting the system. But with every violent act, every tactical compromise, with every secret, she transforms into exactly what she opposes. The gun, the cap, the coercion, the willingness to kill. She absorbs all of it. Which brings the question, is it really about revolution or a power trip wearing its skin? Later in the film, after everything collapses, Lockjaw will describe his relationship with Perfidia as being raped in reverse. He'll claim, "They saw the power of my mind and body. They desired it." Remember that phrase, because it reveals not just Lockjaw's delusion, but the fundamental flaw in the French 75's entire mode of action. This flaw becomes concrete when we ask a simple question. Who does Perfidia actually kill? Not Lockjaw, even when she had a clear chance to eliminate him. Not a politician, not a white supremacist operative. She kills a black security guard, a working-class man, one of the very she claims to fight for. This is what power actually becomes for the French 75. Hypocrisy shooting its own class. Not change. Just destruction dressed as conviction. During the bank robbery, another member, Jungle Pussy, walks across a table with geese figures mounted on the wall behind her. "This is what power looks like," she declares. Now, considering the same geese and predatory imagery, are in the Christmas Adventure's secret bunker too. She's actually telling the truth without knowing it. Power is hidden, not shouted. It is obvious that a predator cannot be seen by its prey. And who is the prey here? The same people Jungle Pussy is trying to intimidate. It is clear she doesn't even know who she is performing to, and why. The French 75 position themselves as defenders of immigrants, of marginalized communities. But they can't communicate with the people they're supposedly protecting, and the only person their leader kills is a member of that community. Their revolution isn't rooted in solidarity, it's rooted in something else. Observe Perfidia in moments of danger. The raid, the confrontations, the bank robbery. For her, violence isn't a necessary evil, it's an aphrodisiac. The danger, the aggression, the chaos, it excites her. After the detention center raid, she and Pat immediately become physical. Her encounters with Lockjaw carry an erotic charge that culminates in sleeping with the enemy while wearing his symbols of power. Perfidia isn't fighting for liberation. She's chasing a high. Revolution is her drug, and the oppressed are props in her psychodrama. Consider her background. Her mother lives in an affluent home with Black Panther poster on the wall. Rebellion is the family tradition, her mother says. Perfidia's revolutionary posture was inherited, not chosen. It's an identity performance, not conviction. When she becomes pregnant, she's still out with an assault rifle, spraying bullets while carrying a child. This isn't commitment. This is pathology dressed as politics. After capture, she betrays every single comrade to save her own life. Then comes the final costume change. She removes the military cap, replaces it with a cap that says California. The revolutionary becomes the lifestyle liberal. The soldier's cap exchanged for the tourist's hat, from armed resistance to empty signifier, from Black Panthers to something defanged, commodified, something that mistakes slogans for solidarity. So that's the revolutionary who destroys everything she touches. But what about the man who tried to save what she abandoned? 16 years later, Pat has become Bob, an alcoholic, a drug addict. His brain so damaged he can't remember revolutionary codes. When his contact asks, "What time is it?" a simple security phrase. He blanks. But the film asks us to look deeper. Bob suppressed his revolutionary identity because he became a father. He chose Willa over the cause. He chose domesticity over ideology. It broke him. He numbs himself with substances, watches Battle of Algiers while stoned, treating revolutionary cinema as escapism rather than inspiration. When they raid his home, he escapes through tunnels and emerges from a shithole. The director's visual commentary on what Bob's numbed existence has become. But Willa is alive. Willa is trained. Willa has a future. The film frames Bob's perception of his daughter with devastating precision. Through Sensei's eyes, Willa appears disciplined, capable, prepared. But through Bob's eyes, she wears Snow White's blue dress. A dog by her side. A cottage with a smoking chimney in the background. Bob sees his daughter as a fairy tale princess. He's constructed a fantasy of innocence around her, perhaps dangerously so. Later, at the convent, someone will call her Goldilocks. Bob has raised her inside a children's story, but he raised her. And here's a detail that captures the generational divide. When Lockjaw's men interrogate Willa's schoolmates for her phone number, almost everyone refuses. But one student talks, the non-binary, cross-dressing character that Bob struggled to understand earlier. The one who performs progressive identity most visibly is the one who betrays Willa. Once again, this is a critique, the output of performative ideology. Surface-level sloganeering instead of structural transformation. And we see it illustrated through the very hat Perfidia wears at the end. The California hat, now endangering her own daughter. Notice how Willa is saved in the phone as Hello Kitty. The revolutionaries called themselves Panthers. A generation later, that legacy has been tamed into a cartoon cat. Harmless, cute, safe for the status quo. The non-binary character exists to show the same dilution. Radical politics becoming a performance. Bob, for all his failures, always told Willa not to have a phone. He understood that connection makes you traceable. The broken revolutionary knew something the new generation forgot. But Bob isn't the only one who transformed over these 16 years. In parallel, the French 75 fell into their own delusion. When Bob tries to reach Willa during the crisis, he gets put on hold. Revolutionary hold music playing, while a theorist, on the other end, refuses to bend protocol. The movement has become a bureaucracy, a call center with slogans instead of smooth jazz. Again, an example of turning into what you are opposing. Notice the match: a corporate call center that puts you on hold and never solves your problem. A revolutionary call center that puts Bob on hold when he needs help most. Different hold music, same result. Throughout his escape with Sensei, Bob shouts revolutionary phrases. Sensei remains unimpressed, because Sensei understands that slogans aren't action. The person who talks most about revolution is usually doing least to make it happen. Bob fails to act when it matters. His body freezes. His slogans accomplish nothing. So what does genuine counter-establishment practice look like? The film gives us a clear answer. From his first appearance, Sensei Sergio operates on a different level than every other character. Calm, disciplined, plans several moves ahead, and crucially, he serves his own community directly. The undocumented immigrants he hides aren't abstract causes. They're specific people he protects with specific actions. He lives with them. His family shares their space. Unlike the French 75 performative gestures, Sensei engages one-on-one with the immigrants he shelters, especially the children, keeping them calm with a reassuring presence even in moments of highest tension. When chaos erupts and Bob panics, Sensei says, "Ocean waves, calm down." He repeats this throughout the film. It's not just dialogue, it's philosophy. In Buddhist thought, ocean waves represent the continuous nature of suffering. Difficulties rise and recede, but they never stop. What matters isn't stopping the waves, it's how you face them. This connects directly to the film's title. One battle after another, wave after wave. The question isn't whether hardship will come. It always will. The question is whether you can move through it without drowning. When police pull them over, he forces Bob out of the moving car because Bob is too scared to jump. Then Sensei surrenders with total calm, almost dancing, because his plan is working. What does Sensei say about Bob? When Bob asks forgiveness for all that is happening, "You have done nothing, Bob." When cops ask what he threw from the car, he simply says, "Trash." To Sensei, Bob isn't a revolutionary. Bob is dead weight. A man who talks about revolution, but freezes when action comes. And why is Sensei presented in this elevated manner throughout the film? Because he fights for solidarity. Because, in the end, French 75 was full of themselves. Look at the name of the Sensei's dojo. It is called Ninja Academy. Not a coincidence. The ninja is a historical figure who operates in shadows. No fireworks, no performance, no announcements. This is the implied method of truly fighting the power. We've now seen revolutionaries who fail, through self-destruction, through paralysis, through hollow performance, and we've seen what genuine effectiveness looks like. But there's another figure we need to examine, the enforcer who thinks he's a player when he's actually a pawn. Captain Stephen J. Lockjaw appears to be the villain, the face of oppression. But Lockjaw isn't the villain. He's the help. Observe how the Christmas adventurers treat him. He enters the meeting through the service area. Only after proving his usefulness does he exit through the ballroom. Lockjaw is a servant promoted to guest, never to family. There's bitter irony in his existence. He owes his career to Perfidia. Her betrayal allowed him to capture the French 75, earn promotions, build reputation. Without her, he's nothing. Revolutionary and enforcer are symbiotic. Each needs the other to justify their existence. When the Christmas adventurers ask if he's ever had an interracial affair, he lies. He knows the truth would destroy him. And his fatal flaw? He believes he's part of their club, when he's actually a mere tool they'll discard. After Tim Smith shoots him, Lockjaw survives, disfigured, walking wounded. As he moves through the frame, the scene dissolves into the Christmas adventurer's office. The windows behind him look exactly like prison bars. He's already in their cage. He just doesn't know it. He goes to them claiming he was raped in reverse by Perfidia. They saw the power of my mind and body. They desired it. Remember when I said this phrase reveals everything? Here's why. This statement is the epitome of delusion, and it applies equally to Lockjaw and to Perfidia. Both sides believe they possess power the other desires. Both believe they're in control. Perfidia thought wearing Lockjaw's cap meant she'd claimed his authority. Lockjaw thinks Perfidia's seduction means she recognized his superiority. They're both wrong. They're both puppets. And neither can see the strings. This is also important considering Perfidia chose not to kill Lockjaw when she had his gun, and Lockjaw was defenseless. Notice how "they desired my power" line sits here. It can also be said that they desired to continue the endless cycle of violence as well. Remember that Lockjaw said to Perfidia, "You can blow up anything you want, doesn't make any difference to me." This sentence alone is a perfect summary of the relationship between armed forces protecting status quo and the so-called resistance. Willa is the only character capable of breaking this cycle, ironic considering how she is their child. But we will get back to that. Lockjaw's death makes this puppet imagery literal. Gassed and thrown into a furnace, the implication is clear: the Christmas adventurers are no different from the Nazis. Lockjaw dies in a glass room, in plain sight, looking exactly like a puppet whose strings have been cut. So who's pulling those strings? To understand Willa's journey, we need to see the architecture of power that surrounds her and her parents. 3 organizations in this film hide their true operations behind innocent facades, and all 3 use religious or traditional imagery as cover. First, the Christmas Adventurers Club, the white supremacist organization, pulling strings throughout the film, operate from a house with warm family aesthetics. Americana. Beneath this cozy surface, decisions about who lives and who dies are made. In their headquarters, geese hang on the wall. Hunting imagery. Predator symbolism. The same geese appear in the bank the French 75 rob. The film connects these spaces visually. The bank and the fascists share an aesthetic because they share interests. We hear explicitly that the Christmas adventurers profit from the immigration conflict. While soldiers and revolutionaries fight on the surface, they extract value from both sides. We understand that the French 75 think they're protagonists, but they're gladiators performing for an audience they can't see. Sensei's operation uses a store called Genesis as its front. Religious name, commercial appearance, behind it, a network sheltering the undocumented. Sensei and his family live there alongside the people they protect. And when they need to move, they travel from Genesis to Sacred Heart Church, another religious structure. The revolutionary nuns use a convent as cover. Sacred space, concealing an underground railroad. But there's a complication. These nuns produce drugs, sedatives, substances that pacify. They believe they serve the revolution, but their actual output is passivity. They manufacture numbness for the masses. Revolutionaries who think they're changing the world while producing the opposite. The road to pacification paved with radical intentions. Every faction hides behind something sacred. Christmas, Genesis, the church. This is the world Willa must navigate. Revolutionaries who become what they fight. Enforcers who serve masters which see them as disposable, as mere tools. Sacred facades concealing exploitation. Her mother, a traitor. Her father broken. Her biological father, a monster. Beneath all the action and comedy, this film carries the weight of dark modern trauma. Yet the director doesn't see this darkness as permanent. All the movement, all the mistakes, all the failed revolutions, they culminate in Willa, the new generation, the first character to make the right choices, a symbol of hope. Willa has been shaped by opposing forces. Her mother, Perfidia, chaotic, violent, self-destructive, treacherous. Her father, Bob, broken, addicted, ineffective, but present. Her teacher, Sensei, disciplined, strategic, community-rooted. There's a scene in the convent where Willa fires an automatic weapon, exactly like her mother did years before. Both characters face a dilemma in these parallel moments. Perfidia was choosing between being a mother and being a revolutionary. Willa is trying to solve who she actually is. But observe what Willa does with her crisis. She doesn't collapse. During her escape, driving down that undulating road, panic takes hold at first. The road rises and falls like waves. She can barely see. Overwhelmed, but she doesn't crash. She rides the waves, unlike Bob. She transforms fear into focus. The waves of the road become determination. She converts chaos into weapon. This is the ocean waves teaching in action. Suffering comes, it rises and falls and never stops. You cannot stop it. You can only learn to move through it. At the hilltop, hiding behind a rock, she isn't cowering, she's positioning. When Smith approaches, she tests him with revolutionary codes. Smith fails the test. Willa shoots him. Consider who she's killed. Tim Smith, the Christmas adventurer operative. The hidden hand behind Lockjaw. The actual enemy working in shadows while everyone else fought on the surface. Perfidia killed a black security guard, an innocent working-class man in her way. Willa kills the right person. For the first time in this story, someone identifies and eliminates the actual enemy. Now we can finally name what separates Willa from everyone who came before her. Nietzsche outlined 3 stages of spiritual evolution: the camel, the lion, and the child. The camel is the beast of burden. It shoulders the weight of inherited morality, customs, and received wisdom. Its motto is, "You must." It possesses great endurance, but that endurance serves submission. The lion is the great refusal. Where the camel kneels, the lion stands and declares, "I choose." It claws apart the old tablets of value, seizing sovereignty over itself. Yet the lion carries a fatal flaw. Destruction is its only language. It knows what it rejects, but cannot forge anything to replace it. Its entire identity is built on negation. The child is the ultimate becoming, pure possibility, a fresh start unburdened by either duty or defiance. The child plays, not as rebellion, not as compliance, but as raw creation. It embraces existence wholeheartedly and generates meaning out of a blank canvas. The French 75s are lions. They rebel, roar slogans. But what do they create? Nothing. They define themselves against the state. When the state captures them, they have nothing left. Perfidia is a lion who never evolves. She destroys relationships, comrades, family, all in rebellion's name. Never builds anything, ends up alone, having accomplished nothing but wreckage. Bob is a lion who became a camel. He stopped rebelling and took on fatherhood's burden. Carried Willa for 16 years. It broke him, he wasn't built for it, but he carried her anyway. Willa is the child. She didn't choose her legacy, it was thrust upon her. But she takes what was given, training from Sensei, love from Bob, even DNA from Lockjaw, even absence from Perfidia, and creates something new. When she identifies Tim Smith as the real enemy, when she pulls that trigger, when she returns home and reads her mother's letter, she's not repeating the past, not trapped in reaction. She is building something towards solidarity. Then she hears something on the radio, a protest in Oakland. She decides to go. Bob doesn't stop her. For the first time, he's at peace. He has a phone now, on the grid, no longer hiding, no longer afraid. On that radio, a sticker, Sensei's mark. Even the device that tells her where to go carries the teacher's fingerprint. The camel carried the burden. The lion destroyed the chains. The child walks into the future, ready to create. One battle after another, but finally, someone who can ride the waves. That's our read through the burning glass, where we point out what the film is showing, one frame at a time. If it sparked something, like and subscribe for more.